Welcome back to part 2 of Honest Advice for 2022 homebuyers. I'm Melanie Beran with Wyatt Properties, myhomeinhouston.com. If you missed the first version of this video or the first part of this video, make sure, I'm never sure where it is, and then I try to point and then I'm dancing. But whatever side it's on, make sure that you go watch that before you watch this one and come back. Like I said, I'm Melanie Beran with Wyatt Properties, myhomeinhouston.com. Make sure you like this video and subscribe as we get into part 2 of Honest Advice for Homebuyers. That previous video dealt a little bit more with how to prepare your mind for what you're looking for, what you're picking, what you're overlooking when we are in a short inventory market. This video is going to talk a little bit more about how to be prepared to even start looking in this market that we're in, that is a seller's market, that is going to take a little bit longer for you to potentially find your home, not always, but often. So let's jump in. Tip number 1 is going to be that you probably need to start earlier than you think. And we're finding this is really common right now. Home buyers are hearing prices are still going up and interest rates are going up. They're like, hey, my lease is up in a month and a half and I need to buy. And that puts us on a little bit of a tight timeline. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying you're probably going to need to investigate your options on either going month to month on your lease or moving in with someone else, because I can't guarantee you that in a month and a half you're going to have a home. On average, it is taking 3 to 5 months to buy a home. And what you may not know is after you go under contract to buy a home, it still takes about a month after that to get through inspections and appraisals and lending and underwriting and all those things that I can help you with every step of the way. But even if you went through pre-approval this week and found the home you wanted this weekend and had your offer accepted, it's still going to be 30 days, so you're still looking at like 40 to 45 days right there. And it can take a month or two and several offers submitted to even have your offer accepted. So all of that to say is you probably want to start earlier than you think. And I'm happy to help you find a lender, but you really want to start with the lender. That's the part not that nobody likes to talk about, but that's the part that a lot of people, they want to go with the realtor, they want to find the house and it's all fun and HGTV and all the things, right? But the lender is going to hold the keys to your transaction if you are not buying full-on cash. We certainly did not have $180,000 to drop cash on our home, so we had a loan. Most people will. You want to contact a lender earlier than you think is necessary. If you need a recommendation for one, make sure that you leave me a comment. But those lenders are going to help you understand from a lending standpoint what your financial picture is, so that if there are any hurdles that you might need to jump, or if your pre-approval amount isn't as high as you would like it to be, but if you take these 3 steps over the next 3 months, your pre-approval will go up. Those are all things a lender can tell you and a lender can work with you on. So on average, it takes 3 to 5 months to buy a house, and if you have a few months worth of working on things, you could be looking at 6 months to a year before you are really ready. My husband and I worked on our credit for about a year to be able to do what we wanted and have the price range we wanted and clean up our credit to have the loan that we wanted. So there is no shame in starting early, and there's no shame in needing to work on some things. But you want to talk with a real estate agent and you want to talk with a lender so that you're not just floating out in the universe trying to figure out what to work on. The lender paired with me can give you some specific information on what areas you're looking for, what those price ranges are like, if that's going to be attainable for you, and the lender can help figure out, okay, these are the 5 or 6 things that might hold you back. These 2 or 3 are going to be the most bang for your buck if you can address them in the next couple of months. So start earlier than you think you need to. That is honest advice number 1, but kind of 4 because this video 2, so yeah. Step 2 is also kind of wrapped in with the financial side. You need to save your money. We are seeing now in this market, there are less homes for sale than normal and more buyers looking than normal, and so that creates a supply and demand in the seller's favor, right? The seller kind of holds a little bit more leverage here. So the seller might not be as apt to replace the carpets right before they move, or replace the roof right before they move, because they know that they can probably sell their home for a great market price anyways. And so as a buyer, you may need to come up with some money after you close to make the home what you wanted, right? I told you guys that we saved for 3 or 4 months after we bought our home to fix up the bathroom the way we wanted. You also, as a buyer, are going to want to consider having more money for larger down payments, more money for higher option money, more money for inspections. A lot of buyers don't often consider you have your down payment, and that's the big thing that everyone talks about, but there are other costs associated with a home, like inspections and appraisals and things like that. I have a video up here that's kind of older, but it talks about how much cash you need to buy a house. And I'm just going to recommend that you have 10 to 15% of your desired purchase price saved, even if you're going to go with a 3.5% or 5% down loan. That is going to set you up, if you can get up to 10% of the price range you're looking at. So if you're looking at a $250,000 home, if you can have at least $20,000 to $25,000 saved up, if you're looking at a $300,000 home, if you can have $25,000 to $30,000 saved up, that is going to put you in the best position possible to address all of the things that you may need to address, like a bigger down payment or covering an appraisal gap, which is a thing that's happening a lot right now in this market, that when we're working together, we'll kind of talk about what that means for your specific situation. If you have more cash saved up, you don't need to ask the seller to try and contribute to closing costs, because if you offer $235,000 and someone else offers $235,000, but you tell the seller, hey, I want $3,000 from you for closing, and the other person's like, hey, I have all the money I need, I don't need $3,000 from you, the seller's going to pick this one, because in the end they walk away with more money for their house. So save. Put yourself on a tight budget. Say no to some things that you would have said yes to before, because you are buying a long-term investment. And sometimes that means cutting down on going out to eat, cutting down on different budgets for different things. We actually saved a lot, and we bought our house in October. The Christmas right after, we had a very, very small, low-key Christmas. Our little boy, he was, to do my math, he was 4 at the time, and he got Hot Wheels for Christmas, and he loved it, and it cost us like $10, and he was so happy because he was 4, and 4-year-old boys typically love Hot Wheels, right? So readjust your expectations on some other things so that you can purchase your home and have this long-term investment, because our family financially is overall much better off than it was when we were still renting. Okay, so save. The more cash you have, the more able you're going to be flexible, and if there's a home that you really love, you're going to be able to be aggressive in going and buying it and beating out the other offers, because homes on average right now are getting 3 to 8 offers or more. So be prepared. You're going to be competing with other buyers, and if you have more cash than they do, that's going to put you in a position to decide how much of that cash you want to spend to get that home. So for this video, part 2, honest advice number 1 is to start earlier than you think. If you need help knowing where to get started, leave me a comment or shoot me an email, leave me your email address, and I can help you figure out even where you are so you can get started. Step number 2 is going to be save. You want to save as much cash as you can so that you can be flexible and aggressive in going and buying the house that you want. Step number 3 is going to be working with someone who is actively working in your local market right now. I don't have anything against anybody's second cousin, but if your second cousin has had their license for 20 years but hasn't actually sold a house in 10 years, they are not familiar with what people are offering and asking right now and negotiating in this market, and they could potentially give you some really bad advice. And I love your mama and your daddy and all of these people, but life is different than it was when they were home buyers. My parents bought their first home in 1986, and that's the home they still live in now. And life is different. Student loans, hello, right? We're getting married later, we're starting families later, we're establishing careers and then buying homes. The interest rates are different. The cost of living is different. The way that you negotiate a deal is different. If you're having someone in your family give you advice that, just you know, they listed it at $325, but go ahead and offer $315 and see what happens. In this market, unless that home is way overpriced, that is incredibly terrible advice. And so you need to be working with someone who is actively working with buyers and sellers in your local market right now. If you are in Houston, I would love for that to be me. If you're not in Houston, I've got a network of agents across the country that I know and have relationships with that I can probably refer you to someone that I know. But you need to be careful when you're choosing your real estate agent. I love my friends and family. I'm sure you love your friends and family, or, you know, most of them. But make sure that you are choosing someone who is going to help you purchase this $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 investment that is probably the largest purchase of your life. So work with someone who is active in the local market. That is advice number 3 for home buyers in 2022. If this was helpful for you, make sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss a single thing that I put out to help you on your home buying journey. I'm Melanie Beran with Wyatt Properties, and I hope something really great happens to you today.